Welcome to the greatest colloquium captus in existence. I'm here with the boys. The numerical calculator with Jesus. The numerical calculator. Are there any other kinds of calculators that don't do numbers? Interesting. Anyways,
Technically,
the
computers
human.
are calculators that don't do numbers, yes.
Oh, there you go. The human calculator with the numerical nomenclature. Raytron 1, 2, 3. The man with a plan and the ultimate Nas fan, the electric jolt, EJ. So how you guys been doing?
Well, had an interview today. I think it went well. I'll let you know. Other than that, I've been chilling.
That's good. That's good. What about you, EJ?
I've been good. Just staying busy, working. Same old.
Yeah, I've been fasting for the past I think this is my third day now. I ate at 11. I do like intermittent, so I'm not like sitting here actually not eating the whole day or only eating once, but I try to put like 12 hours between the meals. So I ate in the morning, and now I'm gonna eat again at night, like around like 11 or so. Which is unfortunate. I shouldn't have eaten before that. So I could. It's not a good idea to be eating past like 8 or so. Yeah, that's all I've been up to. And I haven't been using all I've been watching. I haven't been like consuming anything beyond Alias. I haven't been looking at social media. I haven't been looking at any YouTube. Nothing. Just been doing a nice, clean, everything fast, scrubbing my brain. Yeah, feeling pretty chill. Feeling pretty chill so far.
Even that could be considered brainwashing.
Sort of. Yeah.
You're washing your own brain.
Yeah, washing my brain.
Making it squeaky clean.
But without further ado, this does relate to the topic because there was something that elicited an emotional reaction within me. Nothing else. This whole week I've been pretty chill, like along with the fast and stuff. I think it's just like along with the fast and not consuming all this content, I've been feeling like a pretty even baseline, right? And I guess because I've been meditating too. But then something that Ray had sent me, he showed me, and I did some research on it. And as I was reading about it, it made a deep emotional response within me. It got me, like I described in the. He just said something. Oh, he just said something. I think it would have fixed. But anyways, I felt first deep sadness when I was reading about it, then anger, then emptiness, because it's like there's nothing I can do about it. It's like that shit like that's gonna keep happening. And that's the thing that elicited this response in me is the recent Eli Hart case. I think Ray watched the video about it. But for EJ in the audience, I'll explain what happened. Basically, this woman was in a tangled custody battle with her husband over this kid. And she's literally unfit. She's deemed unfit. The kid has been taken from her and lives in a home. But because of the custody battle, he can't be given to his father yet. So the father, the social workers who are there, they note that the kid works well with the father. The kid seems to love his father. The father brings age-appropriate toys and all kinds of stuff. Meanwhile, the mother has had many episodes where they note that something's wrong with her, that she's not right, and she seems to be on drugs. She has had heavy drug usage over the years. And basically the way she was stalling the father's like gaining custody is she kept accusing him of various things, various crimes, right? Even though she admitted to the cops of her own admission, like she said that she makes things up, right? She said that. And like there was no evidence of any wrongdoing against her. Like pretty much they didn't get into what she was accusing him of, but it's obvious it was domestic violence stuff. No evidence she was being like harmed in any way, right? So the father can't get custody of the kid because of this, because once those things enter, that can really stall a custody battle and make it like frozen, right? So what ends up happening is the father gets custody eventually, but she's able to get custody back by with full custody, by the way. I think she goes in this like program. She stops taking drugs for a little bit, and she manages to get the kids back. And just 2 weeks later, the kid is found in her trunk, shot to death. and that made me very unhappy when I was reading about that. And it's just like the things surrounding a case like this, like custody and all this kind of stuff, and the fact that men are treated like second-class citizens when it comes to like family court battles and that kind of stuff. Because this guy, by all accounts, was a good father, was seeming to be a fit parent, and he couldn't get the kid. And then they give it to the mother, and what does she do? Like a judge just awarded her custody. And it's hilarious to me because the social workers are like, oh, she seems to be completely fit and stable to handle the kid. Meanwhile, she's had repeated episodes where people have seen like she's clearly unstable. But they let her keep the kid, and she hurt the kid for some reason. Oh, and then the craziest part of the story, this is insane. The cops, right? Imagine yourself in a situation and imagine if you would get the same treatment. The cops find her driving on the street with a broken out window, driving on the rims of her car. Okay.
The rims of her car, bro?
Yes. And then they open it, right? They get her, they stop her. They find her covered in blood. She tells them, oh, I removed the tampon. She has blood on her hands and her clothes. They find what appears to be organic tissue in the car. She tells them she went to a butcher and the butcher prepared meat for her. They drive her home, bro. They don't discover the dead body in her car until they drive her home and look inside of it. Do you guys think you'd ever get some treatment like that? Oh,
bro. What?
Yep.
What?
Yep. What do you think is happening to you, Ray, if you get pulled over in your car in that condition and you have blood all over you? What do you think is happening?
Brother, I get pulled over for not doing anything. What do you mean? Yeah, I've literally been pulled over for not doing anything. I'm literally driving on the highway. I'm chilling. I look at the cop. He points at me and says, I was like, what did I do? Yo, what the? Bro, I can see him point and just pull. I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Meanwhile, homegirl is covered in blood, has obvious organic tissue in her car. And they just drove her home, bro. They didn't discover she had a dead body in there until they got her ass home.
At least they discovered it, bro. At least they discovered. Oh my god.
Yeah, because imagine if they decided not to check her car. Imagine if they were just like, okay, well, you have a good night now.
She would have got away with it. Or, I mean, no, she was going to get discovered because she was an ongoing court battle. She was going to get found. It was just a matter of when. Jesus.
It's crazy, man. It's insane because it's like, you have the guy is the perfect dad. He could have just had the custody of the kid. All they had, and then the judges are refusing to comment on the case or anything. Of course, because they know they dropped the ball. They don't want to admit that they dropped the ball. And that's the thing. People talk about women who accuse guys of molestation or SA and that kind of stuff. They say that those women should be held accountable. I think these fucking judges should be held accountable sometimes for when cases go this awry. Because this is nuts. That man's kid is gone. Gone now. All because that judge wanted to do something that made no sense. That's crazy, bro. What are you guys' thoughts on this matter? I don't want to.
I mean,
record.
No, same. Similar to you. When I discovered the case, I was like, "There's no way." Because I just read the title. I was like, "There's no way. There's no way this kid is gone, right?" And then I literally listened to the description of the case. I'm like, "Yo, how?" There are so many points in my mind where all it would take is one person to be like, "Nah, I can't give this kid over," right? And we can talk about the law we want, but we all know that if one person at any point was just like, "Nah, no, I refuse," because the judges literally could have done that. They could have literally just vetoed whatever rules that were in place and be like, "Nah, I'll award custody to the dad." Because for all intents and purposes, I don't even know how this was a battle. The mom was on drugs. She was just deemed unfit. How is this a fight? How is it a fight, bro?
What about you? Oh, sorry. Keep going.
Just the amount of hoops that the guy had to jump through to get his kid back. And what, she went through a program for 5 minutes and was like, give her another chance. Like, yo, that's crazy to me.
Insane. Yeah. What about you, EJ? Any thoughts on the matter?
Yeah, there's just another tragic example of issues when it pertains to family court and battles of custody about what you said about how men are perceived as second class a lot of the time. I know it's vital for a child to have uh, a mother in their life, but if that mother is unfit, as in this case, um, the person that was responsible for that, then it's clear, it's clear that they shouldn't be in their custody. And like Ray was saying, some of you would think somebody would have some good sense to see that this, they shouldn't be in her possession. Um, and I think the rules overall need some revamping when it comes to that, because uh, there's always issues with that with custody, like people trying to get their kids back, or even fathers having to pay child support, even though they're present in their kids' lives. Um, so I think overall they something needs to be done. Like you said, maybe judges need to be held accountable more for those kind of the important decisions that they're making. Maybe even like when it comes to the social workers or the organizations that the social workers work for. Um, the accountability has to be there, because uh, tragic situations like this are going to keep going on.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy because it's like I remember a guy that I work with was telling me about something that happened to him, and his baby mother, she has custody of the kid, I guess, and he's able to take the kid. I guess it's split custody because he's able to take the kid, right? Um, because I don't think because if he's able to take the kid, then it's not that she has full custody, right? Because that would be full custody. Full custody would allow him visitation, right? And then he'd be able to visit the kid but not take him, right?
I'm not really
I
sure
I
how it
don't know.
works.
Yeah, I don't know all the
Yeah.
rules myself.
Right. Anyways, he had some sort of custody, and he was able to take the kid to stay with him, and so he takes the kid, and he'd have the kid with him, but apparently the kid decided he didn't want to stay with his dad anymore or some shit. Like the kid did not want to. Like he said, he sent the kid back, and suddenly the kid is saying that he doesn't want to be with his dad anymore. And he was saying that it's because when the kid was around him, the kid doesn't want to do anything for himself. So you'd be trying to teach the kid, like the kid would want him to brush his teeth for him and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no, you got to brush your own teeth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like he said, the kid went back, and suddenly the kid didn't want to stay with him, and that was that. They were just like, "Oh, you don't have." It's like he. So when the kid decided he didn't want to see his dad anymore, it was like the courts were like, "Okay, you don't have to see his dad anymore," and the dad now has no connection to his son. So understandably, he was hurt and angry, and he was like, he talked to his lawyer trying to see like if he still has to pay for the kid, if he can't even, he's not even in the kid's life anymore. He's not going to be around the kid or anything. I was like, no, you still have to pay. You're never seeing the kid, but you got to pay. It's like,
Yeah, and another thought about that too. You see this when it comes to like men in society. They pass it along too within the black community. They say it a lot about fathers not being present, but you also have a system in place that make it hard for a father that is trying to be there and is trying to provide for their kid. So you have those barriers in between, along with that stigma attached. So a lot of people that have kids, even if they want to be there for their child, they get discouraged when they go through stuff like that. And even though it's your kid, nothing like that should discourage you. But uh, um, it's not just an argument that you're getting into with the child's mother. You're dealing with a whole legal system. You're dealing with courts and officials, and like it's over your head at that point. And especially when you don't know what type of agency you have, or you don't know how to go about it. Um, can make it even worse for you.
and then if you're being tormented by the baby mother, that adds a whole nother layer and element to it. Like if the baby mother is actively using the legal system as a sword against you and using it as a weapon, which many women do. Like this used to be a thing people didn't want to talk about, but even women are now admitting that women often do this, that they will use the legal system as a tool against a man and to push him down. And it's crazy. It's like this. We've made so many advancements as a society, and there's so many things that people want to change, right? Like people out here championing for all this gender transformative stuff, right? And getting rid of gender as a concept and all this kind of stuff. But we still have one of the most archaic legal system when it comes to gender regarding when your gender is a man. Like when you're a woman and a man, suddenly the legal system goes right back to the same old dated, supposedly dated concepts.
Back to the Solomon era, bro.
Yeah. Well, we go right back in time. We fucking get on Miss Lizzie's bus or Miss Frizzy's bus and travel back to the fucking 1800s. Like it's crazy, crazy to me.
Like I
Because
I don't even know what we can do. Like we got to revamp the court system, but
well, see, I don't want to. Yeah. It's an undertaking. It's a fucking undertaking. Because like the thing is, right? So there are two things in this. No one cares enough about men's issues to champion this, to actually talk about it, right?
yeah,
So you'll have 1,000. There are organizations, but they don't get any spotlight or any attention, right? If you're not like, because men aren't considered a minority, so they don't give a fuck about male issues. Then there are, like, I don't mean to bring the red pill into this. I'm not going to talk about the red pill as a whole, but just using them as an example. There are guys that would be considered red pill who are like men's rights activists. And these guys actually are sitting there championing and they hold up signs and everything, trying to fight all these archaic things that they think do not belong in the family court system. But these guys either don't get attention, like they get zero attention, or they get a bunch of negative attention. Like people mischaracterize them as incels and sexist and all sorts of things. So it's like everyone's just like, no, let the men suffer. Let them suffer. Who cares? It's crazy. Like, and I don't want to make this just a men's issue, right? Like, I mean, I think overall men are treated as second class citizens and not treated very well in the legal system. But a custody battle in itself is already pretty bad. Because I mean, I've seen some other crazy stories. Like there was a one where a guy, they were fighting hard to keep the kid away from the kid, like keep the parent away from the kid, from the
Father?
kids, right? Yeah, the father. Sorry, keep the father away from the kids. Um, and he's able, after he fights and fights and fights, he's able to be around the kids. And then guess what he does? He fucking kills himself and the kids all together. I think he blew himself up along with the children.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is the kind of stuff that happens. It's like it seems like family court is supposed to be this intermediary, but it really seems to make things a lot worse a lot of the time when I read about these things. Makes things really messy.
Well, you usually only read about the scandalous ones, right?
No, I'm telling you, like I've watched this thing that was about the family court system in of itself, and it's a very predatory system the way it's organized. Like one, they don't have to follow certain rules that normal courts have to follow. They literally have a separate amount of rules. There are things that they can do that normal courts cannot, right? There are powers that are afforded to them that normal courts cannot. And then when these families now hire lawyers, the lawyers will fucking know the judges and know each other, and pretty much it's like it's under the table. They're working together to drag this thing out as long as they can. They're telling each side. So like a lot of time, right, when you talk about these women who are terrorizing their husbands using the court system, they're not always doing it of their own accord. Sometimes their lawyers are literally telling them what to do and telling them to do this because the lawyer knows if this case gets dragged out, I get money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have these like counsel, I don't know what they call them, but these like counsel guys who are meant to like look over and deem if you're fit as a parent when it comes to like determining custody, right? And these people can literally say whatever the fuck they want. Their words are treated as law. So I remember there was one thing I was watching where the woman was talking about how the guy comes and he was already a very strange guy, and she looked him up to find out more about him, and then come to find out he's like this he's like sleeping with prostitutes, he has a gambling problem, all these crazy things, and he's out here supposedly a judge of character for the other people raising their kids. It's fucking insane. It's like whatever. It's an insane system. The family court system is nuts.
it
Hmm.
you run into this issue a lot when you have like intermediaries, right? Because where do I find a person who's good enough to cast judgment upon other people, right? Like they've had this sort of like idea for the police systems, like, oh, there needs to be some other system to like investigate the police system, but what's stopping from what's stopping that system from being just as corrupt as the police investigating themselves, right? What's
Yeah.
stopping like when teachers like are investigated, if they're investigating themselves, if I got a third party, what's stopping that from being corrupt too, you know? Like
Yeah, the age-old problem: who guards the guardians?
yeah,
Yeah.
so when you run into these systems in which people have to judge other people, we keep finding the same issue over and over again where it's like one person who may not be on the up and up, they're just in charge and their say goes. And usually unsavory people want that position, like because it's some sort of power, right? And unsavory people, they kind of just want those positions of power. They get to decide people's fates, you know?
Yeah. And
Another
then when
another thing I was gonna add was I'm not trying to absolve the family court judges of, obviously giving the woman more favoritism and over the guy in custody battles, but I also do feel that since it's a sensitive issue, it's a tough job for them to simply just take away their child from the mother, especially if the mother does a good job at putting on a good act in court for them. So to just bring themselves to having to do that, right? To having to take their child away, um, and especially if like they are getting the sense that the father's a better fit, even though the mother, let's say she's not a bad parent, but like financially she can't support the child, right? Like say it's one of those cases, like let's say it's not about drug abuse or anything on the extreme. Um, in cases like that, it's even more tougher, right? So I think they definitely do got to get held accountable, but if you put anybody in that position, it's a tough call to make, I think, for the most part.
sure. But I mean, these guys are supposed to be, they're supposedly free of the bias. That's what this system is supposed to do. It's supposed to create an unbiased way of being judged and held accountable. But then you look at it and there clearly is much bias. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's like, sure, maybe they find it hard to do that to the women, but unfortunately, you're a judge, man. Like, you don't have these
That's what
luxuries.
that's what you that's what you signed up for anyways, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
To
that's what
make those
When these
to make
people
those
are in these hard situations, I can't ever be like, oh, well, it's a hard situation. It's like, no, no, no. You decided to go for this career. Like you chose to make these hard decisions. These are not decisions that have been thrust upon you, like, and you're just forced to make them. You will put yourself in this position every single day. You know,
and you chose to be an arbiter of justice. You wanted this. Mm. So it's like, yeah, go ahead and dispense the justice. You can't now back off and talk about how hard it is. You wanted to dispense justice. Now you have to
right?
do your
And
job.
it's so weird because you'll see that kind of argument in most cases in like the legal system, from like the cops to the judges to the lawyers, where it's like, oh man, it's a hard job judging or figuring out the truth, and it's like, brother in Christ, like you chose the job. You're here
Yeah,
for a reason, right? Like you wanted to be able to get down to the so-called truth. So when
and that
time comes, I
good.
want you to find it.
I think that's the problem though, because with jobs like that and uh the consequences that it could result in when making certain decisions, you can't really have an off day like somebody would at a typical job. Because what an off day could mean for someone in that situation, um, it can be drastic, like we've seen with the not even saying that they had an off day. I don't know any of the judges that were on the panel for um, the situation you were talking about, but it's just you have to be on your A game all the time, and And I know that you signed up for it, but it's that human capable of being capable of human error, right? Or making a mistake, and you can't really afford to make a mistake.
Hmm. Yeah, because that mistake could be the difference between life or death,
Mm-hmm.
or because even if you want to say like, right, like I remember I was that quote from Dune I was talking about, where it's like the difference between depriving somebody of their freedom and death is a matter of degrees, right? I would say like many men consider a father their life purpose. Like this is what they do. Like they are a father. This is how they think of themselves. Typical parents think of themselves this way. I mean, sure, you have some parents who they want to party and they want to act like they're young and they want to be one of the young ones. But many parents literally think of themselves as a parent. Like I don't want to single out Ray's mom, but let's say Ray's mom, if they were to take her kids from her, like that would be akin to killing her, right?
Yeah.
Like it'd be like you murdered her because you took her identity, you stripped it from her. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my mom would have a fit. She'd have a
Yeah,
fit.
yeah,
Like she
yeah,
had fits. Like so, I remember back in the past, my dad wanted to like take me somewhere. My mom was like, "No, can't go nowhere without me." It
yeah.
was weird.
So yeah, many men consider themselves a father, and then like now a situation happens, or you divorce somebody, or I don't know. Yeah, say you divorce someone, or the woman just up and decides to leave you, like you're about to get married or something, she doesn't want to be with you. Then she gets full custody of the kid on top of that. So one, you probably thought of yourself. Let's say you've thought of yourself as a protector, like you're the man, right? And this is your woman, and you love her, right? You've already lost her. So that's already one strike against you. One thing, one part of your identity has been stripped. Then your kids are gone too. So it's like you're no longer father anymore. You're no longer protector. It's like you can understand why some of these men become so desolate and like depressed because it's like they've lost every aspect of themselves. It's almost like they've been destroyed. You know? Yeah. Jeez. Jeez. Yeah, it's a pretty shitty situation to be in. Yeah. I mean, any thoughts? Any thoughts from you guys?
I mean, this is just such a heavy topic, right? Um,
Yeah.
and there is no right answer in what should have been done. Like I can't say if I was there, it would have been different, right? Like I can't say something like that. But it definitely does just highlight the one of the many. This is just one of the many cases that highlights that there needs to be some sort of change. Um, like the system as it is not conducive to finding like the truth as it is. You know.
Yeah. 100% agree. Yeah. I mean, I guess we can move on to something else now. I was going to talk about this tomorrow, but I suppose we can talk about it today. We have a little bit of time, and I guess we've talked about this topic for a long time. Because I mean, when I saw this, I had to talk about it. That first thing, and then I saw something right after that to talk about this too. So recently something something crazy happened. So I saw an Evan Preach video about this as well. But this guy, he gets in jail. Well, he changes his identity to female, right? He's in jail. This man rapes and impregnates two women, while a trans. Sorry, you know what? I want to be respectful, right? I want to be respectful to the larger trans community. This woman, this person who identifies as a woman, they rape two women and fucking impregnated them. Crazy stuff. And just now, they're gonna remove them from the women's prison. And I don't know where they're gonna be kept now,
They don't
because in
know
the
either.
yeah, because the argument is gonna be they can't be kept in a male prison because they might be bullied and all that kind of stuff and hurt.
We know the way that they look. They can't go to the male prison.
Well, here's the thing: there are plenty of cross-dressing men in male prison before. Like, if you know anything about male prison, you know that when there's not a
Yeah,
steady supply,
yeah.
some men must now take the role, and some men take the role with gusto. They they tie up their shirts and they tie up their hair and they walk around acting like a girl.
They usually get turned though. They
You,
don't usually come in like that. They get turned during their time in prison.
Definitely, yeah. But I'm just saying, by that logic, then is he really? I mean, maybe you know what? Yeah, maybe he might get more likely to be, SA'd because of the way he.
From the
Sorry,
way it's looking,
SA.
we're gonna need a third prison. There's gonna have to be
Jesus,
male,
Yeah,
female,
like
and trans prisons.
a gender neutral prison.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ. What's going on with this planet? We're like,
I
we're accepting.
mean,
I feel like we're in another dimension sometimes. I'm looking at some of these headlines.
they like they can't go to a female prison, obviously, right? Because of what just happened. And if we were truly trying to prevent the thing that happened in the female prison again, they can't go to the male prison because it's not like we can just be like, well, it's okay if this person gets SA'd because they did SAing, right? Like that's just not how justice works. So,
But there was a great point that Preach made in that Abbott and Preach video. Great use of logic here, right? Where he was talking about how like no one cares about like they're saying they can't be kept in the female prison because they'll SA people, right? But no one cares about men being SA'd. It's well known that men get SA'd in prisons and people still send them there. No one cares the man is. It's like everyone accepts he's probably going to get SA'd. They make jokes about it. They think
yeah.
it's hilarious.
Yeah, there are plenty of jokes about that kind of scenario.
Exactly. But then the dude, now suddenly everyone cares about SA because now the gender's been switched. And that was a great point he made. I was like, that's very true. Level of hypocrisy there. Yeah. But I mean, why don't you show EJ a picture of this individual
Um,
and show the stream too? Let me see if I can. Let me see. I'm trying to remember the name they changed their name to.
hold on. This is the wrong person. Has it happened more than once?
Well, I think it has actually. I think I've read about something like this happening before. Pretty sure I have. Yeah. Isla Bryson. That's their name. That's what they changed their name to. Because there's another point that Abba made that was beautiful. Beautiful point. I think it was very true.
Talk about it as I look up this image.
Oh, what? Talk about the. Oh yeah, we're basically these. I mean, I found one. Let me send it to you. But basically, these people, as soon as they switch over their gender, they become the most stereotypical version of that gender they possibly can, which I find very bizarre. If the whole idea is that sexuality has no labels and that kind of thing, it's like if it has no labels, why are you doing all these things that you yourself must consider stereotypically masculine or stereotypically feminine, right? It's crazy. So when he made that point, I was like, yes, that is very true because I've noticed that very much. I'm like, I always wonder, like, do women, and some women do, but they're maligned as turfs when they mention this. Some women actually do find it offensive and find the whole thing like it's like you're almost satirizing us, like you're making fun of us as a what the hell? Oh, did you get that image? Oh shit, it didn't save. Sorry, give me a second.
I found the image,
Oh,
but I can't find like a good one. Like it's the one where they're all covered up. Hold on, I got their name now.
it happened twice, bro.
I kept finding the other one. I kept finding the other person that did it. So I had to put Scotland because this one happened in Scotland, the one we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, here. Copy here for you, EJ. This is what this person looks like for the stream.
You showed it for the stream too?
Yes, this is what the person looks like. It's here's what they used to look like, I believe.
Yeah, notice how they're so stereotypical in the platinum blonde hair, the large pink puff jacket. I just find that kind of stuff interesting.
They're they're not really doing a good job of hiding their member there though. It's really just I don't
Which
know,
makes
man.
you wonder if so. You gotta wonder, right? If this character identified as a woman and then proceeds to rape women, what's the defense now? Are they was is their story meant to be taken as genuine, or were they just pulling a con?
Well, another point that they made is like you can't just say because like a lot of people will be like, "Oh, this is just a person abusing the system," and it's like you can't keep saying that. Like you have to take accountability. Is like that these people could be genuine trans people just doing bad things, right? So I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it could be a trans person attracted to both sexes. Yeah, that is
You
true.
could just be a trans person. You could
Yeah, that's
just
a
be
good
a
point.
woman. You could just be a trans woman, but still attracted to women.
Yeah.
Like you just be a lesbian then, right?
Crazy to me that we have these that we're at a level in our society where we can now have these kind of conversations. I realized things were getting insane years ago when I was watching this thing, and I saw
Oh,
it before
okay.
we started. What was that? What happened?
Um, the old wife of Isla Bryson was just like, yeah, they will definitely never stop.
What a sad person. But
Wait, is this from?
I saw
Oh,
something
this
with
is
a
from before.
I saw this video of AOC Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, right? And she was she was talking about women, right? But she kept saying menstruating persons. And I remember I saw that interview. I was like, what the fuck? And then a bunch of people started reacting to it after I saw it. I was like, yo, where are we as a society where you can't even say the word woman anymore? Like, or you can't say the word woman because people will be confused as to what you're saying. Like,
You think that's the reason why she was trying to do that, or was it easier for her to make that distinction to
well,
the viewers?
menstruating persons, right? You can't say woman because then it becomes because then the idea is you have to use inclusive language. So the thing is, if they say women, she meant specifically in regards to women, like women as in biological women, but she can't say biological women, so she has to say menstruating persons. And it's like so it becomes this thing. It's like what Carlin was talking about, where now we're in this weird
But I don't
twilight.
think I don't think. But was she trying? I didn't watch it, but I don't think she was avoiding saying the word women because she didn't want to offend people. I think it was just to clear up any confusion, right?
I mean, no, it is definitely well, yeah, to clear confusion, but also not to offend people because you can easily because menstruating persons is a retarded term. Like it's
It
one of the
is.
terms I've ever heard. You could have easily said biological women, but you can't say that because if you say biological women, then it's like, okay, are you saying women who don't have the certain parts aren't women? Or you're saying women who don't have a period that they aren't women? But you speak to some trans women and they claim they can have periods. This is what they say. Some trans women say, I can have a period. I have periods all the time. I've seen several trans women make this
At
claim.
the end of my sentences.
At the end of my sentences. Oh my God. So I don't know, man. We're in this weird twilight zone as a society where it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know what's
What
next.
does that mean? Is that from the show? Twilight Zone.
Oh yeah, Twilight Zone the show. But in
Is that a
Twilight
reference?
Zone, like the whole
No.
idea of the Twilight Zone is you enter an area where like anything can happen, where it's now unexplained. That's what would happen. You'd be like,
Oh, okay. Because I was reading more about the case.
it's
Sorry to
like
cut you
it's like
off, but wait.
It's like, oh, let me just say something real quick. It's like Shanice has been in prison for several years. He's about to be paroled. Little does she know that her her cellmate is Isla Bryson, and she's about to spend the night in the Twilight Zone. That's how Rod Serling would do his little introduction.
That's from the show, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's
So
how.
Okay.
more about the
That's why you
case.
say Twilight Zone. We're just entering weird territories. What I'm trying to say.
He didn't. The Isla Bryson didn't essay anyone in prison. They essayed people, and that's why they were sent to prison. and they began transitioning during the trials.
To be sent to a woman's prison.
To be so like this. That's why like the former wife is like, this is a ploy to get an easier life in prison. Like if the like do not believe him.
Or I thought they impregnated people in the prison.
That's not what I'm reading. It's like they essayed 2 people before they got to prison. And then they would start transitioning so they could get sent to the female prison.
Okay, let's see.
And this was in January. And everyone's confused as to why they allowed them.
Are you sure that they haven't been removed because they essayed somebody?
People when they found out that they were put in to a female prison after like assaulting females, they were just like, why? Why would you do that? Why would you take someone who is assaulting women and put them in a place where there's nothing but women? And that's why it's been brought up. Because people have been asking questions.
I mean, this is an interesting point here. I'm reading this article, and it says here, but Sturgeon also underlined it was important during such exchanges that we do not even inadvertently suggest that somehow trans women pose an inherent threat to women. She added, predatory men has always been the case. As has always been the case, are the risk to women. And it's like, I mean, there are no predatory trans people.
Yeah, that's just a weird statement. Especially where it's like, it's not the fact that they are a trans person. It's the fact that they assaulted women and now they are being put into jail with nothing but women. You know, it's like...
I mean, plenty of people have made the argument that you probably shouldn't be keeping men in a prison with women. Even if they identify as a woman, they just think it's not a good idea. Yeah. Well, I mean, let me look at this other case.
Yes, it's not about the gender. It's not about their gender identity. It's about their actions. So
well, at the
regardless
same
of
time, so like if a person, right, let's say like a cis male assaults men, right, like essays men, do they get to go to female prison? No, right? They have to go to male prison still. So I guess that is the counter argument.
I was actually going to respond to something you said earlier about that, because you were saying something about the trans person in this case. They wouldn't send her to they wouldn't send her to male prison because like the same thing could happen to her, right? That's what you're saying?
Something like that, yeah.
But I feel like that shouldn't technically matter, because that's not an idea that factors into anybody's mind when sending a man to prison. Like, you don't, that doesn't cross your mind. Yeah, like, oh, I can't send him to prison because he might possibly get raped and he looks like he could get taken advantage of. So why should it matter?
Prisons in general are just kind of weird.
Well, we have the case here of a guy of a person, a trans woman who actually did.
Yes, the other one.
Yeah, the other one is the one who
get people pregnant in prison.
In prison, that's crazy.
And this one was in Jersey.
This one was in America.
Yeah, in Jersey. A transgender woman incarcerated. In 2 pregnancies. This person impregnated 2 different people in the all-female prison.
Why don't you show me that one? Or show all of us, I guess, that one. Oh yeah, there he is.
Oh. Show me that one.
Oh jeez.
Well, this is the other person that this one they did impregnate people while in prison.
This black trans woman here?
Yes.
And now they fear for their life. They're out there essaying people, talking about they fear for their life. That's crazy, bro. Like you are a sick piece of garbage. Sitting here trying to get sympathy after you was out there essaying people, man. getting people pregnant. Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
Yeah, they're now at the all male facility. I'm approved for surgery, which has made my time at the male facility dangerous. So I've been on suicide watch multiple times. I'm losing weight, or I'm truly.
Yo, these people have no self-respect. This is like just accept your crimes and move on. But I guess in their minds they have nothing else to lose, so they really be debasing themselves. Because like I feel like at a certain level, I have to hold on to some level of respect. Like I couldn't be out there like I'll be like, you know what? I committed my crime. I guess I got to do the time. I guess if you're a real shitty person, you don't think that way, right?
Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, people who do sort of like bad things kind of don't really think they did anything wrong, right? Because they've
Yeah.
convinced themselves that they had to do the thing, or it's like it's not wrong to kind of like want to do what they did. It really does depend on like their psychosis at the time. But some like a lot of people, if they're doing bad things, they convince themselves that it was like they had no other choice, right?
Exactly. And then you have the other case here of Karen White. Maybe I should show you this one, who was already, imprisoned in relation to essaying and that kind of stuff, and a convicted pedophile. And they get, they identify as a woman, get sent to a women's prison, and of course, they continue doing what they were doing before. They essayed two people. So here we have a third example of what we were just talking about. How many times does this have to happen before you must now consider it a problem, and perhaps males and females shouldn't be sharing the same prison? Crazy stuff, man.
The Demi Minor is saying that they violated her rights for to be safe and free from sexual harassment by putting me in one of the most violent youth centers in huh huh. But you sexually assaulted two people, bro. And I'm not saying you did you do so it gets done to you, but it's like that's crazy that you're now so fearful of sexual harassment. It was like you weren't thinking about that shit 2 seconds ago when you.
You're sexually harassing to the point of literally depriving them of their sexual freedom, of their freedom in general, because you're forcing them now to do this literally just a little while ago, and now you want people to extend to you the same courtesy. Crazy, man. What a hypocrite, right?
Yeah, it's a very hypocritical situation because, and like I said, it's not because they have done something bad that I want something bad done to them, but it's just so interesting to see the mentality,
It's
right?
inconsistent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like you did not care about those rights when you took them from other people, but now they're being
Yeah.
taken from
Now you
you,
care about
and
Yes.
you're just champion for change.
Yeah. I mean, I guess from a self-preservation angle, but if people were just honest and would just admit this kind of stuff, then because like everybody told you guys, I'm willing to accept almost any argument if it's logically consistent. So like if someone said to me, yes, I essayed a bunch of people, but I don't want to be essayed myself, I'd be like, oh, okay. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I get it. I get it. You don't want harm to come to
Apparently, the
you.
pregnancies resulted from consensual relationships, not SA.
But they did essay people.
I don't think no, they're in jail for manslaughter.
Yeah, how many times you guys gonna say that shit? It sounds
Well, I
like
don't
your
want
favorite word to get.
we can't say the actual word too often because
Yeah, you get demonetized. Not that we're getting
Uh,
money, but So yeah, no, this person's in jail for manslaughter, and apparently they had consensual relationships with women in the prison, and
is
then
this
they
what
got
they're
moved.
is this what they're saying?
Look, man, I can only tell you what's on the paper, right? That's just like the paper saying it was
So where
consensual.
did you read that they
Bro,
essayed
this
people?
right here. I don't know. I don't remember because I think I just assumed it actually. Because I'm
Thanks for
not
making this.
like I'm pretty sure you can't have no, you can have relationships in jail, but I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to. So I think from the writing, it was like implied essay, so I kind of assumed it, which is that's on me, right? But yeah, here is saying it's consensual. And then they moved them because, you're not supposed to get people pregnant in jail. And it's not that it never happened before, right? Like, I'm sure guards have gotten people pregnant. I'm sure there's probably plenty of stories where someone in jail got pregnant and people were scratching their head being like, how the fuck? Right? But this sort of this would be prevalent with the rise of the amount of open trans people, right?
Well, the Karen White thing, that person actually did, yeah, force themselves on 2 people.
Karen White,
I'm looking.
bestseller?
What was it?
New York Times bestseller author Karen White.
No. Why do you think that?
Nah,
I sent it. It's in materials.
Karen White's probably a very common name.
No, I put it in materials. Like there's literally an article in materials.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull it up. Give me a second. Jeez.
Impatient.
In general, Karen White's just a common name. But this other person, another UK person. Yeah, let me show the stream. This person. This other person, Karen White.
I'm looking at this Fair Play for Women organization thing here, which would be regarded as a TERF organization.
You be reading The Guardian, bro?
This is just the first thing that popped up.
Hold on a second. I see something interesting here.
Heard they're a reliable source.
Oh, man.
The Guardian? Hell no. Yeah.
It's just the first thing that popped up, but if you want...
I'm seeing something.
Hey, that law society look legit.
Here's the BBC. You prefer the BBC?
Whoa!
You would prefer
that kind
the
of
BBC?
Language. Use that kind of language. We on stream, yo.
The British Broadcasting Channel. You prefer that?
Nah, too late.
Gotta specify, man. There's a lot of people watching, man.
Are you fucking serious, bro? Okay.
That's what they used to look like?
I'm reading something here.
That man look like he hasn't gotten sleep in days.
Oh, I think this is what they used to look like.
He looks like exactly what you expect to
Karen
be doing.
White was born Stephen Wood.
Like if I was walking at night and this guy was walking behind me all slow, I'd be like, this guy is going to take my booty. That's what I think.
Why would you say it like that?
He's gonna try to take my booty.
Think he's gonna essay you, bro?
Yeah, I think they're gonna save me. I'm reading something here saying that that rape is not that common in prison. It's not even common. Hold on, let me see something.
Tell Tom from the Boondocks that.
Oh, they're not even. So they literally, like, dude, they took the person's words and misconstrued it. They're not debunking any myths here. It's literally just saying molestation happens in prison. Well, they have to give it a nice clickbaity title.
Who knew that?
Man, there's some. We're in the twilight zone, guys. We're in the darkest timeline here. I mean, you know what? We're fine. We don't have to worry about any of this shit. But the people that need protecting, I'm sorry, man. I'm not gonna. If I step up to the plate and try to be a champion for women's rights,
champion of the charge,
try to defend them, I get thrown under the bus. People get pissed at me.
It's not my fight, bro.
It's not our fight. And the few women who are being logically consistent with their feminism and doing as they should, they're called TERFs, and they're maligned for doing it, even though it's logically consistent with feminism. This is what feminists have always done.
I don't know. I don't know. That's it, right? Like, I have nothing else to say about any of these topics, really.
You don't have any solution to the problem?
No.
Damn.
I'm usually the man with the plan, but not today.
Everyone knows that you can only address a problem if you have a solution to it. That's how the world works.
That's the funny part, because when we judge this, right, or how people would want us to judge it is by the action, not the gender. Yet when you propose a solution, the solution has to be factored into what gender they are, right? So like when you look at the action or the offense, it's like nah, you know, they're trans. Like, you know what I'm saying? This has nothing to do with them being trans. But then when you propose a solution on how to deal with it, it's like, yes, we have to be, you know, we have to factor in that they are a trans person. So it's funny how, you know, that works.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. There's not much consistency in this thing. That's why I call it the Twilight Zone, man. You enter crazy people land when you
Man,
enter.
hanging out, you got me analyzing more arguments, man.
Yeah,
Hey, thank you for that. Thank you for that.
I do that shit for fun.
It's a toxic trick that I'm starting to pick up.
I don't think it's toxic at all. I think it's necessary trait. It's something you should be doing. You should always be paying, because especially in our society, there's this thing called doublespeak, and it appears in 1984, like a sort of satirical, exaggerated version, but it's fucking real. Doublespeak is real. People will say things that really mean something else in order to confuse you.
I think everyone should have the ability or acquire the ability to critically think. But I think sometimes, you know, I just want to go out there and enjoy life. I don't want to be sitting here trying to decide what's right and what's wrong all the time, like in an argument, as it pertains to an argument. I just want to enjoy life.
Yeah, I ignore other people's arguments. Like I don't give a fuck. But it's like if I'm watching a video about something, someone makes an argument, I'm gonna sit there and look actually, or if you're having a conversation with me and you say something that I just think doesn't make any sense, I'm like, dude, that doesn't make any sense. Like I'm gonna tell you, right? But it's like, like I said, there's like this element of doublespeak in our society where people say things. Sometimes they say it intentionally to confuse you, but sometimes you have to really pay attention to what someone's saying because they'll word something in a way so that they can now absolve themselves of guilt later. Look, I didn't say that. I said this. You're like, well, it's the same thing. It's like, no, no, no. I said something else. You projected with that belief onto what I said. It's like, no, no, no. It's like you can't just.
No, you've definitely gotten our fair share of that kind of argument. You're just like, bro, what are you doing right now?
Sometimes that does happen, though. People do project their beliefs on others.
True. But sometimes people will say something meaning one thing, and then when you've exposed to them now that their argument is faulty, now they try to backpedal. Like
Now they try to hide. They try to hide. Yeah.
Bro, we have a famous example of that where this man was like, oh man, he's like, what was this? It was like Alex Jones didn't say Sandy Hook was faked, and then we literally found a video of him saying that it was faked. But he's like, no, he didn't say it was faked. He said it was fabricated. And I was like, are you really?
He said the event was manufactured.
Oh, it's manufactured. Oh yeah.
The event was manufactured.
We were like, yo, you're gonna sit here and try to say that those words are different words, faked and manufactured? He'd be like, they are.
Yes, he would have to put together a 4-minute video explaining the difference between those two words.
No, I was actually pointing out to the guy that no, for all intents and purposes, he was saying Sandy Hook was fake. Because I say to the guy, I'm like, okay, what is the event that he's talking about? The guy's like, Sandy Hook. I'm like, okay, the event is Sandy Hook. Okay, I'm like, the event Sandy Hook was, and I say manufactured. What does manufactured mean? He's like, well, it's created, it's fabricated. Sounds like he's saying Sandy Hook was fabricated, which would mean Sandy Hook was faked, right? And he's like, no. And like,
yo, it was like the Patrick memes. Like, this is your wallet?
Yeah.
No. Is this your ID? Yeah. Is it your name? Yeah. It was in this wallet? Yeah. Then it's your wallet? No. I was like, bro, that should have been the first time we should stop talking to that guy, bro. Because he started backpedaling everything. He was like, see, what I was saying was, it's not that he didn't say, no, at first it was, it wasn't that he was saying, so Alex Jones was saying that Sandy Hook was manufactured. He was just a mouthpiece for the media. So the media was saying that, not him himself. And we're like, nah, this is on his show, bro. This is the Alex Jones show. Like, there's,
Look at
like,
EJ's face.
this is himself. And then it was like, oh, well, manufactured and fabric and fake doesn't mean the same thing. And then Gio did that thing. And bro, and then it became on something about the overall of the media. And we're like, no. We're not talking about none of that, bro. Literally,
Man,
it was him versus
you guys don't talk to him
people.
anymore.
Yeah, I don't talk to him.
You guys don't talk to him. Yeah. Let me guess.
Would you keep talking to him?
Hey man, we all say some wild shit sometimes.
Bro, but this was just one. This was one of the many examples of this man doing this thing.
No, but see, but that conversation.
Sometimes we allow it, sometimes we don't.
That conversation is like insane people stuff. He doesn't talk to a crazy person.
So that was a straw, or was it?
It should have been, but it wasn't. It wasn't the straw. It should have been though, because man,
it was the straw for someone else. But then they used me as their big bully anyway.
But
even if I didn't do anything to this person.
But EJ, think about it, because Mans would say something. He would say something. He'd be like, XYZ, and I'd be like, yo, bro, we're not talking about that. And he's like, no, you say XYZ. I'd be like, yo, blah blah blah. He's like, I'm not talking about XYZ. It's like, bro, I would literally take a screenshot and post this. Like, nigga, it's not even 2 messages up. What are you talking about? Bro, and this is the same type of guy. He would post a link to something, and then we would talk about the link that he posted. He's like, what? I didn't read no link. It's like, nigga, you posted it. He was like, well, it's not evidence. It's like, you posted it in response as evidence. What are you talking about? He's like, you think I read everything I send you guys? I was like,
you know what it be sometimes with those type of people, and maybe I don't know him, but maybe he was one of these kind of guys where like they'll say that they're not making that point, and try to defend themselves, but they know they're wrong. They know deep down they're wrong, but they're so prideful they'll never say that to you. They'll never admit that to you.
Like that, though?
They'll never admit that to you.
Is that not the same thing I was trying to explain to you? Ray tried to put you in his mindset and explain to you why.
So it's like so their way of going about it is like, I have to save face and I have to stand behind this. No matter how I look right now, I'm still retaining my pride.
It went even deeper than that, because it's like, all right, I use this person as my case. He made me realize this profound realization I had. This was years ago. I came to the realization that when someone doesn't truly believe in their arguments, that's when they start trying to pull fast ones and start arguing in bad faith. I was like, oh, it's when they know their argument is faulty. Deep down, they know that it's a weak argument. That's when they start arguing with straw men and trying to trick you and trying to do all this stuff. Because I was like, if you truly believed your argument, you wouldn't need to do all those things. You would just argue what you're arguing. Because that's what I do. I just argue straight up. I never I don't do anything metaphorical, anything. What did he fucking say again? Nothing metaphorical, nothing, fuck, what was it again? Damn, I can remember.
Metaphorical, poetical,
I don't say anything metaphorical, nothing poetical, nothing metaphysical. I just give you my argument straight up.
For me, I don't even try to argue back. Like I don't bother trying to convince somebody. And in cases like I could be flat out wrong. Doesn't mean I don't wholeheartedly believe that shit though. Like I could be led astray or misled. I still believe it down to my core. I just haven't analyzed it or took in outside information to alter my viewpoint.
I've literally changed an argument, not changed an argument, but changed a mindset in real time. Ray's probably seen this happen. There have been times when I'm talking to someone and they say something, and then I realize what they're saying is right. And I was like, and I'll just stop. I'm like, Like if you ever talking to me and you notice I say and I'm just like, I seem like I'm deeply considering what you just said, it probably means you won. It means you said something that made me realize that what I was saying was wrong and what you were saying was right.
Also, this is the quote, by the way. Right here.
Sometimes.
I'm showing the quote to Gio.
Oh, is it? Yeah. I'm going to say it again for the stream.
Yeah. And that's the boots.
My argument is never metaphorical or rhetorical or poetical or theoretical or any other kind of fancy thing. My argument is always straight to the point, straight up. That's how I argue. I don't try to or beat around the bush. I hate people who beat around the bush. I hate that shit. Just say what you mean. You know. I mean,
I really mean what I say.
yeah. Every once in a while, I will notice that I'm drawing something out. Especially when you're talking to women, you'll notice that you're saying something in a very drawn out way because you're kind of, I guess, you're a little more afraid of the judgment. So now I'll notice myself doing that, erase, especially through text. I'm like, why are you typing this long ass explanation? Erase all that shit and make sure my my thing is only like one sentence long, and then I send that.
I remember someone. I remember hearing someone say this where they were they were proven wrong on something, right? But instead of just flat out admitting that they were wrong, and in order to save face and still look smart, they were saying that no, I was never wrong. What I had did was new evidence came into light, and with that new evidence, caused me to restructure the way I think. So, based off the current evidence that I had at the moment, it brought me to that conclusion. But now with new evidence, I have no choice but to alter my viewpoint.
Oh, sounds like you're wrong. It's okay. You're just wrong, bro.
That's a good way to, defending themselves.
No, it's
They're still
not.
looking smart.
No, it's not. Because that's just a long roundabout way to say I was wrong.
It makes you seem more like an idiot because you just
refuse
that
to accept
scared.
that you were wrong, bro. Like, what's wrong with being wrong?
Nothing. I think you should strive to be wrong.
Well, I
Because
I don't know about all that. I don't know why.
here's what I mean by
Got
that.
You can hold that one. All right, it's time to say.
Here's what I mean by strive to be wrong. Like, you should strive to put yourself in situations where what you think is being tested so you can improve as a person.
Yeah, I can agree with that statement. The way you said before, nah. Nah.
Man, I don't want to be proven on shit. I know who I am. I know I could be flawed out here. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to prove that. I don't need to prove that.
You never really know until it happens, right?
I know I'm a flawed individual. I don't need to get into an argument with an individual and know I'm flawed. I know that. I know that.
Having your ideals challenged doesn't necessarily mean you gotta get into arguments, right? Like, you could just be living in a different type of like a different type of environment, and you just see the way that they live their life is just different from the way you thought life had to be lived.
This exposure.
That's pretty cool.
I feel like that applies to someone that has been living a life where they always thought they were right or never were humble.
Not even, bro. You always live in a very closed existence. Like me, you, Ray here, we live in one of the biggest cities of all time. We have convenience around us in every single circumstance. The weather is mostly all right. Like, we don't have to worry about the weather or anything. We don't have to plant our own food. Our existence is very curated. So it's like we probably have assumptions that probably don't make any sense because we're so used to thinking a certain way because things work that way around us.
Yeah, but if you had to ask me, right, like, even if I never went into any of the things I believe, right, if you just had to ask me, what's the chances that anything that you currently believe at the moment could be wrong? Like, what's the probability? I'll probably tell you, like, there's a high chance. Like, if I was confronted with something new, I'm not gonna shy away from that, information. I'm gonna, look through it.
Talk about, because you're saying that you believe that there's a high chance that the things you believe is wrong, and you're not gonna fuck around and find out why.
Like I said, I want to enjoy my life, man.
But like you enjoying being wrong, then like you could enjoy being wrong. I just want you to say it with your full chest. Say it out loud.
Just say ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, just go ahead and say that.
It's like the whole Matrix movie, right? Like, he was confronted.
This man's taking that blue.
The world. He goes, like, yo, give me that shit. Like, I know this steak is fake, but damn, this shit tastes good.
Like, I know this isn't a steak. I know it's just a bunch of codes put together to look like a steak.
Like he did in the movie. Yeah. So like that. That's the part that I resonate with. Like, I like to just enjoy my life and not need to know if everything is factual and if it adds up or if it makes sense. Like
Yeah,
shit, a lot of things don't make sense, man. And
I
we don't have the answer to it all.
I agree with that and also disagree with that. Where it's like on one hand, I do believe that there are many things that just aren't worth like my time and trying to like people people will recommend like say shows and stuff to me. Like, oh, you're missing out. I'm like, nah. I'm like,
And
no, I'm not.
that's the difference, the biggest difference between me and you. You give more of your time to that pursuit. I don't give as much time as you do to it.
Yeah, yeah, I find it very interesting, challenging ideas in general. But it's like I go into things like heck, me and Ray were just talking about this earlier because he was here helping me with this desk.
I'm not even saying there's anything inherently wrong with it. I'm just saying
Yeah.
it's a different way of living.
But I was saying to Ray, I was saying like when I get into discussions with people, I literally walk into them a lot of the time with a very open mind, where I'm trying to actually understand what the other person's saying. And I feel like the only way to truly do that is to accept what they're saying at face value and go, what if this thing was true? And then try to walk yourself through it logically on how it would be if it was true. And if there are things that don't make any sense, if there are gaps, like I guess it must not be true. You know? So that's what I be doing. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. Like, remember what I was telling you, Ray, about the dude who was telling me that the world. I was talking to this guy, EJ. You know who this guy is? He hung out with us once, and had an experience with drugs, right? He was telling me that the world is flat, right? And already, that's a lot to swallow. But a lot during this time, I actually did not even argue that much. I wouldn't argue with him because I just wanted to hear what he's saying. So I'd be listening to him. I would point out things like, well, if it's flat, what about this? And then he would try to answer my question. But he told me the world is flat, right? This is a lot to swallow. Then he said, not only is it flat, but it's covered by an ice dome. And I was like, okay, what's the ice dome for? Because I was like, what about the ice wall? He's like, it's ice dome. He's like, the ice dome, because the world is underwater. It's flat, underwater, and covered by an ice dome.
Wait, time out. Wait. No, that doesn't make any sense. Because if it's flat and underwater and in the ice dome, if the ice dome would be part of the planet then, right? That would mean it's a sphere again.
I thought about that too as he said it, but I was like, whatever. And yeah, everything is water.
Also, yeah, like what is the water? Like, what is the water just in space? Is the water now space?
That's what I was trying to ask him, but he was like, there is no space. Space isn't real.
So now it's just infinite water?
Apparently. I'm sitting there trying to consider, right? I'm trying to think how you could reach that level. I'm like, I wonder what path you'd have to
how
go
would
down.
we have an ice dome? Like if it was
why
truly infinite,
would it freeze, right?
Like
because why out of all the water, this water here suddenly freeze into the shape of a
why
dome?
would it not have broken? Like why is it frozen? Like if it's keeping out water, like why is it not? Because bro, you know what happens when you put ice in water? That bitch melts.
It melts, yeah.
So
unless it's really cold water.
No, the ice will melt.
No, but what about ice at the bottom, like near around the Antarctic? Doesn't ice stay there, like in that
I was
shape?
talking about like ice in a cup. Like even if
Oh,
I have really cold ice, like water, and I put the ice in there, because that water is not at the point in which it is frozen, it is hotter than the ice, so the ice will melt.
Yeah.
Because like if the water is water, that bitch is hotter than ice.
Yeah. Crazy stuff, man. When you explain these things to me, and I remember there were other theories that I would read about and I'd talk to him about, where you have the one where the belief that we haven't discovered all the continents, and there are some. They're basically the idea is that there's an ice wall. Antarctica is this ice wall, and because like this, it gets crazier. Some people believe that there is no space and the Earth is flat and it's just like limitless land. So like the ice wall surrounds it, and you have to get past the ice wall, and there are new continents on the other side of the ice wall. Yeah. And I remember one of the pieces of evidence he showed me to prove that this was true when I was saying I don't know. He was like, look at this map. It has more continents on it. It was drawn like centuries ago. And I was like, what if they were just wrong though? I was like, I was like, if the map was drawn by human hands a long time ago, it could just be wrong. I think it is not necessarily evidence. I was like, a long time ago, they used to believe that a lot of diseases were caused by demonic spirits that flew into people's bodies. I was like, were they right?
Yes.
It's like, I was like, you can find people writing stuff about this, because when germs first came about, there were theories that fought against germ theory. They're like, oh, germs aren't real. It's this that gets you sick. It's your blood. It's this. It's that. All sorts of things. I don't know, man. Well, you're definitely right, EJ, that there has to be a limit. It can be dangerous trying to engage certain ideas or doing it all the time. Because there are some people who, especially if someone's arguing in bad faith or nuanced trolls. Well, there are nuanced trolls. They're another threat, but then there's arguing in bad faith. When you're arguing with someone in bad faith, you're never gonna reach a consensus with this person. They're gonna keep trying to shift their argument, shifting goalposts because they're not trying to reach a resolution. So often with those kind of people, you're wasting your time. But it's pretty easy to recognize when someone's arguing in bad faith. Like you can realize pretty quickly that you're not gonna have a constructive discussion with this person. Then you have the nuanced trolls. Nuanced trolls are very fucking annoying because what they do is they do a lot of whataboutism kind of arguments where it's like they have no point. They have no general point. They just want to like either argue people or to be combative. So they'll keep talking about the nuances, the nuances, the nuances. And you're just like, what are you trying to say? It's like, okay, I get the nuances, blah, 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 but what is it that Joe's be trying to say? And they're not trying to say anything. They just want to talk. So it's like, for example, if we talk about this transgender issue here, right? Or like, for example, let's not even go to the transgender issue. I'll give you a perfect nuanced kind of argument for the family court thing we're talking about, where we're talking about how men are repeatedly discriminated against when it comes to family court cases. A nuanced troll would be like, well, I mean, but when you look at it, there are cases where the woman deserves to get like they're just gonna keep doing that over and over again, and you're like they're always standing on the fence. Those kind of people, it could be you can really end up in a fucking chasm arguing with someone like that. And like I'll give you an example of a time when my pursuit of knowledge and truth and trying to test my ideas actually backfired on me. And I think I've told this story before where we were talking about Brie Larson. I'm in this I used to be in this really terrible geek group that now I look back in those days and like, wow. Huh?
Geek mode?
Yeah. And it's like, I was just thinking about that shit earlier. I was like, damn, you were a corny motherfucker sitting there in a group with other grown ass, well, I was a young man, but these were grown ass adults talking about fucking cartoons. Oh, did you see the new cape shit? Ooh, did you see the new movie with the guy flying? It's like that's the kind of shit we were so excited about that shit. I look back at that time and I cringe. I mean, I'm talking like every episode of Flash, we sitting there like idiots talking about like, wow, my favorite part was when he ran very fast. Because there was nothing about the Flash that deserved in-depth discussions. But one day,
I'm not going to sit here and say that it's like impossible to have good discussions about these media. But to say the Flash. Yeah, the Flash.
No, but I just think it was like, yeah, you can have in-depth conversations about them, but these people were not having these in-depth conversations. It was just typical, I love McCabe shit kind of arguments, like not arguments, but like discussions where they're just a trailer comes out and they're just like, like that kind of stuff. Like I'll never forget one thing that made me start to reconsider this group and really make me realize that I probably don't belong here. Because I mean, I've always been what many people would consider judgmental, that I think too much or think too deeply about things, right? So I remember there was an episode of The Flash and I thought was really fucking stupid. Like it was just like the plot made no sense, the characterization made no sense. I was like, this was a bad episode. And I remember I went on the Greek mode thing and they always had these discussion posts after an episode aired. And you had Flash discussion posts and they had like the logo and everything. And this guy was like, oh my God. And he put like in parentheses, pull my locks out. Never before have I left something needing so many questions answered and needing so many spoilers. This was an amazing episode. I remember reading that shit. I was like, I don't belong here. I was just like, I don't belong here.
Yeah, no, I remember I invited you to that group, and then I quickly stopped going. I stopped reading that stuff too. I'm technically still in it, even.
I've been there a while.
Damn, why you put him in there, man? Why you?
Yeah, he brought me there.
Well,
And I think
when you
that.
first see it, you're like, oh, cool, a bunch of people talking about the stuff that you like, and then you like take a closer look, and you're like, oh, ew.
Not cool.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, not cool. Yeah, they were a bunch of weirdos. And they also had these stupid social justice arguments all the time. Everyone there was like a fucking wannabe activist. Oh, and you know what? I'm gonna say his name.
Also,
only because,
we were in high school, but these were grown men.
yeah, we were young.
Ready to like jump on your throat if you said anything wrong or you had an opinion that they did not agree with. They were.
Yeah, before I get into the story, one more thing. I actually was threatened by that guy. There's a leader of the group. And even consider this, I was young as fuck when I saw this guy's username. His username was DA is a jerk, right? But spelled in like this weird way. And I was like, even then as a young man, I'm looking at this and I'm like, if you're guys like this who are proud to announce that they're jerks are usually just assholes. Like he's just an asshole who's trying to act like it's like a Rick thing. Like a Rick, like I'm only an asshole because I'm smarter than everybody. I was like, no one should be proud to be a jerk. But you meet a lot of people who are jerks, but like, oh, I'm just being real. I'm keeping it real. You know, when they're just real walking around being a piece of shit to everyone. But this guy, one time I saw him ban a guy. Saw it happen right in front of me for no reason. So I said, I was like, why did you? I was like, pretty weird how you banned that guy. Why did you do that? Like I typed that in the thing. I was like, what did he say that made him get banned? Like I was confused. I'm like, he said a completely what seemed to me innocuous comment and he got banned. And he was like, oh, it sure does seem that way, doesn't it? You got a problem? Like fucking threatening me. Thinly veiling. A thinly
grown man, bro. Like, I'm not like, oh, he was like 22. No. This man was like 40.
Like in their 30s. Yeah, 30s or 40s.
Yeah, that was the highlight of his day, banning someone from a group.
Yeah.
Got nothing else.
And then he's threatening, what, 17-year-old Vanguard here?
Maybe at most 18. Threatening me, yeah.
Threatening him with a ban because he's like,
way to go, champ. Way to go.
Yeah. Bro, like there are so many goofy things that I remember when I was like in high school or younger, and I'm just looking back. It's like I'm only 26. I could never see myself doing some goofy shit like that, bro. Especially to like a child, to what I would consider a child.
Not a smidge.
Nah, like there's like being like annoyed with the kid and like, hey yo, kid, shut the fuck up. But then there's the fucking retaliatory shit that they would do, the games they would play. Yo, especially teachers, bro. Like, I think back to the shit that teachers would do, and I'm like, how y'all really beefing with 16-year-old kids?
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, like, y'all beefing, bro.
Remember I had two separate nemesis, two teachers who decided I was their nemesis?
Just, how you wake up and you're like, oh, man, I gotta see that kid again. Oh, I can't wait to give him an F. Ruin his day.
I didn't do anything to either of these individuals. They just hated me from the moment.
Ooh-wee.
And that was really weird to me because I was not used to that. Most of the teachers loved me. Or even if they found me annoying, like Mr. Ninen, they found me annoying in like a funny way. Like he clearly, it was like a lovable kind of thing where he liked me, but I was annoying, right? But anyways, the main story I was going to tell you guys before I forget. So one day I'm in this group. They're showing this thing about Wonder Woman, and they're showing Brie Larson. And they're like, yeah, people hate Brie Larson because she's because people are, no, I was like, people were like, I forgot what it said. It was a meme. I was like, oh, people excited for this woman, for this movie, but hate this movie because what was it? Oh, because the main star is a woman. That's what they said. And I was like, no, that's not why people hate Brie Larson. I was like, the reason people hate Brie Larson is because she makes a lot of like statements regarding social justice and she has a social justice agenda. And when I said this, I typed it in the most innocuous way I could, right? I didn't say anything about her agenda. I didn't say what she was saying was wrong. I didn't say nothing. I just said what she said. It's like she like if you look at her, she's literally talking about social justice all the time. This was her platform. This is what she was using to lead with as an actor. And then they got mad at me. They started getting pissed at me. And I'm just like, they're just like, oh, really? Give us one example. And I was like, okay. And I've never wanted to back down from a challenge. I was like, okay, and typed something that she said, a specific scenario that became blown out of proportion. I literally just watched something about, where she was saying something about how there needs to be more female and black directors, and there aren't enough, and that needs to change, right? He literally said that we need to stop having these stories. Oh no, women are getting like black female and black directors and black female directors are getting shafted for these for the voices of white men, or like these voices are being shafted for in favor of white men. Something like that she said, right? I don't remember now because that was so long ago. But then they were like, she never said that. And I was like, yes, she did. And I was like, they posted an article, supposedly what she actually said, and then they quoted like something else from the article, and then I clicked the very same article and saw, because I sent them a link showing what she said. They sent me another link and quote something else. I clicked their own link, scroll to the part of what I just said she said, and then show it to them. And they're like, and I remember this is the classic. I remember how you guys did. They're like, you really gonna scroll through the whole article just to find the part that agrees with what you said? It's like, what else do you want me to do? Like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to quote the whole article? Like, what do you want?
but you see how many? I mean, you see how much energy you exhausted in
Yes.
that whole ordeal.
Yes.
Like, see it. That's why you would never catch me doing that. I'm not even saying that to attack you, but it's a waste of time. Like, even if you believe that you're right, it's just I'm not gonna go back and forth in the comment section on some discussion board with somebody.
I had to do that. They started calling me an incel, all sorts of things, right? And I'm like, and then at this point, like I know what incel actually means. I was like, I can't be an incel. I was like, I have a girlfriend. I was like, incel, because people like to use the term incel fast and loose, but I was like, no, an incel is an involuntary celibate. I was like, I have a girlfriend. I am not an involuntary celibate. I cannot be an incel. We keep going back and forth. And at one point during this discussion, I legitimately started to question my own sanity. I was like, wait, am I retarded? Am I retarded? I was like, no, there has to be something here. Like, is there something I'm missing? I was like, what's going on? I think I remember I went to Ray, asking him, like trying to get his thing. It's like, am I retarded? And he confirmed, no, they're retarded. I went to someone else because I wasn't even doing this just to whine. I was legitimately concerned for a second. I was like, this is weird. I was like, why are they not understanding? I was like so confused. So that's in regards to what you said, EJ, that yeah, you can really end up in the shadow zone if you don't have like limits. Like there has to be a point if you're discussing something with someone where you realize this person they're gone, they're out to lunch, and you should stop talking.
Another reason, aside from the energy aspect, why I genuinely don't care to get into these discussions of having my beliefs exposed or ultimately proven wrong is because like it doesn't have any like a lot of the stuff we talked about, even with like the media stuff, it has no bearing on my life. Like I'm gonna get off this computer, I'm gonna go take a shit, then take a shower, then go to work the next day, and then go back. So I want a little argument on this on this online platform about some fucking character in the show. Like, yay, like like my life is still the same. And like let's say I had a preconceived notion about people that live in the suburbs or in a suburban area and what their life is like, and then I actually meet one of those people that's from that area, and they're like, no, my experience is actually like this, and I'm be like, okay, wow, yeah, I guess I was wrong, but I'm still gonna not live in a suburban area and go about my life, and it's gonna continue as it has been. So it's really, I feel like it matters when we're talking about large issues like, political stuff, civil rights, things where, I mean, I guess even the red pill can kind of fall into that to a degree. But if your life is not going to be virtually moved by this conversation, to me, I don't see the point of really getting into it. Like I don't. I genuinely don't care.
I disagree. Sometimes I just like having interesting conversations. So I'll just talk about things
That's enjoyable. That's enjoyable to you. That's just not enjoyable to me.
I like
That
having.
shit is enjoyable.
Because I mean, me and you have a lot of interesting conversations. None of these conversations change our lives.
Yeah, but it's not arguments though. Like even when we talk about anime, I'm not sitting here going back and forth with you on.
There was that one time we argued. That argument about the club that didn't change our lives, but we were sitting there arguing about that. Shit.
I mean, yeah. Now we argued about it.
That was funny. That was funny.
That was
for like an hour.
That was probably the only time I think I ever argued with you back and forth like that. I don't think I ever went back and forth with you on anything. So
not really. I mean, we will have like little things, sort of like with the Oscars thing. We argued a little bit about that, but never like to the point where we're gonna stop.
No, I don't even mean in a heated fashion. I just mean like really, you see me passionate about something like, oh yeah, nah, like what do you mean? Like, because passion gets conflated with, oh, he's frustrated. Nah, you could just be passionate about the subject, So I don't ever be passionate.
Sometimes you're passionate because the other person just seems so stupid that you just can't them. You can't understand. That be happening to me sometimes where I've gotten arguments with people where I have to be like I'm like, I don't understand. Like I don't like what part of this. But you're very much right in that some discussions can actually impact your life and either improve it or change it. Like
it's like, why do I need to prove it to you, right? Like even if you said something that I think is completely false, like like if we get into the media stuff or like arts and I like a certain person, I'm like, just because I admire their work or I respect them, I'm not out here like they're not paying me to sponsor them. Like I'm not about to be out here like, oh yeah, Nas is the best ever, and if you don't like him, like
agree with that. Yeah.
There's no stake in it for me, right? Like I'm gonna go whatever you think of that man, I'm gonna go and still bump his album and go on my day. Like what you say is not gonna impact that.
It's like what I had to do with liking Superman, like him being my favorite character. Like I'd have to deal with people trying to make fun of me very often for that, and I was like, okay, whatever. You're free to hate him all you want. Like
now, if we're cool, I might give you a little bit more of that energy. Like I might be like, nah, you tripping, bro. Like you haven't heard this, but bro, like I promise you, it's not gonna last longer than a couple minutes. I'm not at a certain point. I'm just gonna break off the conversation. It's like, yeah, you want to go get some food, bro? Because I don't really care about this.
When people are like, oh, I don't like Superman, I'm like, okay. But then when they start saying things about Superman, then now it's like, okay, now you're just saying retarded stuff. Yeah, like that makes no sense. It's not true. Like what you're saying is not true. But yeah, usually I don't really talk about it. Like even BVS, I really liked that movie, but I didn't walk around preaching to people. And I knew everyone else hated it, and I never mentioned it. And I remember people would learn that I liked that movie, and they're like, "You like that trash?" I remember this girl said that to me. "You like that trash?" I was like, "Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good movie," and I listed off why I liked it. And I was like, "Did you see it?" And she was like, "No." And I was like,
I love when people do that. Where they're like, "Oh my god, I hate that thing. Did you watch it?" No. I read an article on the internet that said it was bad. I was like, that's it? That's all it took?
Like,
that's all it took, bro?
Exactly. Like, man, a lot of the time I'll fuck around and find out. Something will be described. I'll see something with a really bad rating. I'm like, let me go see why this thing has such a bad rating. But like, it's different when like someone like what Ray does, right? Where you'll sit there watching someone talk about it. Or even then I could say that might bias your view on it. But it's different than people who, like you just said, will see a fucking headline or read something and develop this whole opinion.
But see, in a case like that, right, where they're not really fully informed, and if they really, like, I don't give a fuck either way. Like, I don't care if you're not informed on it or not. Like, even if you were fully informed, I don't really care to talk about it. You know, like, I only really like to, I don't want to say, like, I only want to speak about it with people that, you know, feel the way I do. But, like, to me, that's more support. Like, yeah, like, oh, word, you like that? What song did you like? Yeah, that shit was fine. Like, that's more enjoyable because we can revel in that together. Like, we can enjoy that.
I just want someone who has a level of understanding that we can actually talk about this. Like, they don't even have to like the thing, but if we can talk about it and make it.
That's what I was gonna say. If someone really wants to have this conversation, I'd be like, yo, you're wrong. You haven't even heard the album. You're judging him based off a couple singles you heard. Now come back to I'll give you a homework assignment. I'll give you a homework assignment. Go listen to these two albums. If you still feel the same, then we can have a discussion about it, and I'll see what you mean. But until then, don't ever bring this up again. I don't want to hear about the subject. And if you're not willing to do that assignment, please, like I said, don't bring it up to me.
I'll talk about this. Yeah.
And then when you do the assignment and we talk about it, and I still feel that like I don't agree with you, but I see the points that you made. I still don't want to hear about it after that. We will have that one conversation. That's what you asked for, right? That's what you wanted. We'll have that. We'll get it out the way, and then we'll go talk about something else and carry on with our lives. Because I assure you, this artist that we're talking about doesn't give two flying fucks what we think about it. He's out living our lives, and so should we. He's not paying my bills. You know what I'm saying? He's not doing any of that stuff. So why am I getting heated? Why do I care?
One of the other dangers of like trying to argue with people so much, which is why I don't argue with people that often, but I will occasionally, right? Like I usually argue with friends, meaning like you like, and when I say argue, I mean like I will argue something against you and you argue something against. Like we're not like fuck you nigga, like nothing like that. But like I'll argue with friends because with friends, most of the people I surround myself with, I believe have a certain level of intellect, right? And I feel like I can hold a conversation with this person and they'll make points that I think that I actually will make me pause, like 50 Cent said about what's his name? About Nick Cannon, how Nick Cannon never said anything that made him think twice.
That's top 5 diss I ever heard about somebody.
That will make me think twice. I try not to argue with people who will never make me think twice. Like all it takes is me to have a discussion with you once or twice, and if I notice that like you say things that sound very formulaic and parroted, I'll stop. I'll just accept everything you say. You'll say something to me, I'm like, yeah, you're right, man, you're right.
Like I remember asking when I was asking Emilio about the threesome thing, and I remember the first time when initially I asked him, he was like, nah, I would never do that. But I never really got his reason as to why. But I was willing to accept that. Hey, man, like, do you? Like, it doesn't have no bearing on my life or what I want in my life, right? But then I was just, it piqued my interest. I just wanted to know the reasoning. I didn't want to sit here and argue with him about it or, like, try to shift his mindset. So I was just like, why do you feel that way? It's different.
His reasoning was very interesting, too.
And it was sound reasoning. It was sound reasoning. It was sound reasoning, so
I
never brought it up to him again. I never brought
I don't remember if you remember when we had the discussion where as soon as he was listening to it, I was like, yeah, that does make sense. Like, I think I remember I was sitting there like I was fucking Ozymandias, like stroking my third.
Kind of made it least desirable to me after he said that. I'm like, all right.
I was like, I got what he's saying. I was like, I got what he's saying. But like even at my job. Like I would notice, that's what made me realize you can't really have the skill. But sometimes I get caught up though. I forget. Usually, someone will say something and I'll just laugh it off. I'll just pretend.
I feel like the whole argument thing, especially when it comes to you have there's a skill for it, right? There's an ability to keep that up. So I feel like you enjoy having that ability to do that, and it's like you put it out on full display for others to see. It's like a craft.
Sort of, but then sometimes I do try to keep myself because I will notice, I will realize when I'm starting to have too many unproductive conversations, like you said, and then I'll start to. Sometimes it'll be very obvious that I noticed and I held back. Like I remember one time I got into this really a heated, annoying discussion. I think I was telling you about this where he started ganging up on me, so I got mad and I just started insulting people, so I call people stupid and shit. And I was mimicking them too. Like I was saying the arguments that they were saying, like let's say they said Jurassic Park is a bad movie. I was mimicking them like Jurassic Park is a bad movie, and they were getting mad. They were getting mad because I was doing that. I had them heated, right? And then the next day, the chick tried talking to me again, and she noticed how withdrawn I was, and I could see on her face that she noticed. She tried to talk to me on one thing. I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah, I was just keeping to myself that whole day. Because I was like, sure, it was an extreme reaction. I shouldn't have done that. But I was like, we can't keep getting in these unproductive conversations, raising blood pressure for nothing. And even at my current job, I was like, I will try my best, but then sometimes, like you said, my argumentative nature, where something doesn't make sense to me, I must say it doesn't make sense. It gets to me, and I find myself in a discussion, and then once I'm in these kind of discussions, it's kind of hard to just leave them. Right? It's like,
AJ,
what did you
Yeah,
say? What did you say, Ray?
nothing.
Oh, it's
you
like
need
you.
an intervention. That's what he was saying. You need a
Oh, it's like you really don't know what's gonna. It's like you know you're in nowhere territory. You know you're in crazy people land. But at the same time, it's like you feel like you're so far in now, you don't know if there's any turning back. Sometimes I really will just shut the fuck up. Like, you know what? We need to stop. We need to stop. There's nothing good that's gonna come from this conversation.
Yeah, because I used to be like it reminds me of high school because I used to be that kid in high school that during lunchtime I would sit with my group of friends and we'd be going back and forth about like because I used to watch sports way more than I do now back then, and the topic was always, oh, who's better, Kobe or LeBron, and I'd be someone in that discussion like I had a stake on that, like like it meant something, like it was something of value, like I could gain some currency from winning that argument. And like we just do that. We do that every day throughout the week. And it was just like there's nothing to be gained from that. Like you're gonna go back upstairs, go to class.
Well,
Like yeah, like he didn't know what he was talking about. Like
not everything you do as a human is necessarily for um, an actual tangible reward. And I do think verbal sparring a little bit can. I think there is something you can gain from verbal sparring. It keeps your mind sharp and your communication skills sharp as well.
and if that's fun for you in the same way that watching a movie might be enjoyable or going to like if that's part of that fun for you, like then sure that then by all means.
With someone who I think actual conversations where we're talking about stuff that I think are interesting, that's as fun to me as watching a fucking movie. I can literally sit there talking to someone
Yeah.
for like an hour if they're interesting, even if they disagree with me, and we can keep talking for like an hour. When I'm arguing with somebody and they're saying stupid shit, that's not fun. And that's when the moments when I'm like, damn, I really should be having this conversation. And the other thing I was going to mention is what can happen. There are people who literally, and I remember I was trying to explain to this girl at work, but not doing that shit anymore. I'm now going to start keeping my mouth shut. Because there's some women I know who like learning. Like I'll say things and they'll understand my reasoning and they'll think I'm very smart and that kind of stuff. Even though what I said to me was just something that I thought was normal and generic. But I was telling this girl about mind viruses. I was saying how there are things that people infect your brain with that don't like you just said, that things that have no bearing on your life, no meaning. Like you're on social media, they drag you into some discussion that is irrelevant and pointless. And there are people who go about their lives trying to infect other people with mind viruses. They're trying to infect you with a pathology and put that in your head to ruin your day or ruin your life. Like we knew a guy like that, who like I said in one of our other streams, trying to drag you down to his level. I didn't realize this guy was like the fucking devil. I would see this man would get in conversations with people, and it's like every time he met somebody, it's like he's trying to find out what they believe in, and then he's trying to unravel their beliefs and like their um their personhood. Like how he meets somebody who's Christian and the first thing he does is try to convert them to atheism. Like shit like that is weird.
That shit is
It's
weird.
like, yeah, it's like, what are you doing? That's what I mean by like you meet people like that who like their goal is just to sow dissent and it's to drag you down. So you gotta
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to be one of those people where like I only want to have discussions if it's put more money in my bank account. I ain't saying all that, but I don't want to be that guy pushing 40 or even pushing 30, and this is the highlight of my day, like that guy on the discussion board or like kicking people out of groups, and
yeah,
that's my win for the day. Like I feel that's what makes me feel accomplished. This is what I live for. I don't live for those discussions or those verbal sparrings. I don't live for that.
yeah, there's some strange people because I remember even when I was younger, and I'd be young as fuck. I'm a fucking teenager. Let's say I'm watching porn or something. You look at the comment section, and there are people arguing about the porn. And I'm just
I do remember that. I remember that. I look at those comment sections. I'm like,
Most random shit ever. Most random shit ever.
nah, bro. But like, you look at comment sections like that, and you just wonder to yourself, is like, how do you get to that point where you're so invested that you made an account and you're commenting on this video, bro? Because it's not like, oh, I could just comment right now. I had to make an account.
And then you're going back
a Pornhub account, bro.
You're going back and forth with other avatars about some shit in the porn thing.
Yo, bro, like, shit, real talk. You got a Pornhub account?
Nah.
I don't think I know a single person who does.
I didn't even know they haven't. I mean, I guess you.
Right?
Yeah,
you can
like
make an account. You can save your favorite, bro. You can share. You can share your videos onto Facebook.
I never even commented on a video. I think, like on a YouTube video, I never even really commented on a video. Not just videos in general. Like
I commented on it before because I thought it was funny.
I don't comment on videos.
The only time I ever made an account, it was to comment on something that I thought was funny. Might have been that video I saw with the guy on the hoverboard and his wife is getting fucked. I think it was that video. But what I was gonna say, the porn, being able to share it to Facebook has always been the thing. And I was like, do people do this? Do people share porn to their Facebook accounts?
Bitch, they might. I don't know. There's many kinds of people in the world, right? So let me know in the comments if you share it to Facebook.
Now, I have something that's kind of similar. One day I was sitting in a deli, I'm buying something, and this guy's like showing the deli guy video. He's like, yo, look at this, man. Look at this. And I look at the video. It was an old man, too. Old as fuck. I looked over, and I see it's like a chick getting her shit pushed in by the British Broadcasting, what is it, the British Broadcasting
channel?
Yeah, British Broadcasting channel getting pushed in. And I look away, like I jump because I've seen porn before. I'm a kid, but it's like just like to see it there out of nowhere, right? I was just like, oh shit.
Like, man, I'm just trying to get my sandwich to be out, man. Like,
so then the guy sees me recoil. He's like, what? You never seen nobody fucking before? Fuck wrong with you, man? He ain't even said. I'm like, yo, what's wrong with you, man? It's like I'm trying to eat my food, and you're showing me.
He's standing high and mighty behind that. That's crazy.
That was the weirdest interaction I ever had. I was trying to get out the store. I didn't want to argue with him. I was trying to escape from the NPC.
Oh, that party you didn't want to argue that time? But
I was just like, nah, what do you say? I'm just trying to get a sandwich here. And you come in here with the porn, it makes no sense, you know.
Nah, you supposed to bring up that you know, like why are you showing people porn in stores and why that's not cool and you know, like what do you gain from like that?
That was an example of the kind of unhinged person you don't want to have a discussion with. I think it's time. If you are unhinged, I'm not talking to you. I'm not fucking talking to you. Like even when we were hanging out the other night and I saw those niggas were clearly of they straight gangster variety. I didn't say shit to them. I spoke briefly, but I kept it very brief. It's like these are not the kind of people I should be communicating with. Like it
was cool, man. It was cool.
Nah.
Kick back a few beers with them.
They were a little too much and way older than one of them was like way older than us. This man,
one of them was like 6'5". I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, this man.
Like, shit, we get into it.
This man looked like he's about 40 years old. He flexing his clothes and wearing a pooch shiesty. I was like, this is not the kind of individual I want hanging around me.
See, that man won a lot that day, man. He had something to prove to us.
Yeah.
Like how hard he was.
Fucking movie, the man starts flexing his clothes. I'm like, what's gonna do with the movie?
Man said, you see me? See with this outfit I got on? You see this is like 400? Y'all ever seen that is he a YouTuber? He be just walking around with a mic and he's like, how much you got on? How much is that? I think he did it to Kanye. He's like, how much you pay for this?
Kanye walking around in his fucking plastic bag, talking about
he said 200. All right. I see you.
Yeah, it's a $200 plastic bag.
Kanye could do that.
Crazy, man.
Kanye got $200 to spend on plastic bags, bro.
But yo broke ass, I'm talking to the audience. Yo broke ass should not be walking around with a $200 plastic bag. If you're not fucking rich and you come up to me in some fucking t-shirt talking about that chick costing $200, I'm smacking you in the face. Like we're not, Like, that shit's not a flex. That just makes you look stupid. That makes you look dumb. Like, I'll never forget one time my sister got into an argument with my mom. And my mom was telling me how she saved up the money she saved up. She's like, oh, we saved up this amount of money. And my sister's big fuck was like, oh, I had $10,000 before. I had $10,000 before. I remember I looked at my sister. I was like, so you had $10,000 and you lost it? I was like, that's not. You shouldn't be bragging about that.
That's not fiscally responsible.
Yeah, I was like, that makes you sound stupid. I remember I said she got so mad after I said that. She got angry and stopped saying anything. It doesn't make you sound like a retard. Yeah, I feel like we ourselves went into the Twilight Zone near the end of this conversation. We just started talking about all sorts of shit.
Yeah, man, you and your argument analytical skills, man.
Jeez. I wasn't gonna ask for a hypothetical because of the nature of our previous conversation. I thought it might have been too serious. But I think since we went so far off into uncharted territory, does anyone have any hypotheticals they wanna bring forth?
I feel like I don't know if asked this. I spoke about this with you guys on a previous stream with someone else, but I did have one. If we spoke about it, then we don't have to go over it again. But would you ever buy a girl buy a girl you're dating a BBL? Did I bring this up?
No,
I feel like I spoke about this with you guys. No?
Oh, that's
Okay.
me.
All right.
No.
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 That was a hard no. Hard no for me, dog.
I know it's funny. I've had a girl I was dating ask me to buy her one. Yeah.
How much money was you making? The fuck?
Not enough to buy her a BBL. I was making a decent amount of money.
She meant in the future, or she meant like why you guys?
You work the same job?
No. But she wanted me to save up money so that she could get one just for me. And she was like, "Oh, imagine how like it'll be perfect having it." And I was like, "But your ass is nice already." I was like, "Why would I want to? Like, it's nice already. You don't need that." And she spent a long time trying to convince me to do that.
No, it's weird because I remember this one girl literally looking me in the face and was like, "Yo, should I buy a boob job?" I was like, "For what?" She's like, "So I can have boobs." Like, nah, you good. You're okay. Like, but I was like, "Nah, you're fine."
Did you mean that in regards to like she was already packaged, son?
Nah.
Or it was just.
Nah, I just generally don't think you need to do all that. Like, you just don't.
You don't. Have you seen what a boob job looks like, EJ? Have you seen what they do?
The procedure.
Yeah.
I mean, I seen like the bad when it went wrong.
I've seen them just like do the surgery.
Yeah, but I'm talking about they literally rip their shits open, bro, and start stuffing the shit in. They have to pull shit out and start stuffing it in there like
a pillowcase.
Yeah, like a fucking pillowcase, and you see them like cutting open the skin and crazy stuff that you're subjecting yourself to this stuff just for some arbitrary beauty standard.
Yeah, it's really that because I was just like, why? I literally started asking, I was like, why do you want one? Like, oh, because I want to be like XYZ. And I was like, nah, you don't have to be like anyone else. Like, you're fine. Like, fuck that shit.
So if you was rich, right, you still wouldn't?
No, it's because it's not about the money. It's really not about the money.
So what is it about?
It's just like I don't like what are you doing? Like, what you get a BBL for what? So you can like
for her, that's it'll make her happy. It'll make her day.
If I was ungodly rich,
you could die from them things. You know that, right?
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yes, there's a risk. There's a risk.
So it's like, yo, bro, if you really want your ass to be better, hit the gym.
Yeah,
like
that ass. You ain't getting that type of result.
Look, okay, man, if you want some
you can get a
big
really nice
box. If you want some like unrealistic size growth, those are the ones that will end up killing you, bro.
Yeah, sometimes you might actually have the genetics for it. If you actually just went to the gym, you could have a beautiful, ass, really.
But like I'm not buying anyone body mods because
it's not just go to the gym. It's also you have to go to the gym. You have to start eating a certain way.
Yeah,
it's
I'm just in general. I don't really want to buy anyone a body mod because one, like it's a risk to your health. Two, like if I'm already dating you, I already like what you look like. So it's not for me. So you can't use that argument. But you would enjoy it. No, I wouldn't.
The only way I'm doing this is if I'm like some super rich motherfucker who are ready to spend money on like let's say I'm ungodly rich. I just be spending money on all sorts of stupid shit. I got like a fucking Range Rover for no reason. I'm like some Floyd Mayweather shit where I just walk and buy a car for no fucking reason, and I'm betting people stuff and then buying cars and jewelry based on bets and that kind of crazy shit. And the girl asked me for a BBL, and I'm like, if I'm already that level of insanity that I just spend money like water, I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever, bitch. Go get some of me.
Oh,
For me to do
I
it,
wouldn't either though. I wouldn't either, but my reasoning is different from you guys. It's honestly, Ray has the most logical reasoning. Mine's just more of like a
I
prideful
didn't
one.
even say a reasoning. I just agree with Ray.
And then you said you wouldn't. You said you wouldn't either though.
Yeah,
Right?
but I didn't explain my reasoning because Ray, it
Oh,
was
so-
just the same as what Ray was saying.
okay, yeah. So both you guys then. But my
Yeah.
reasoning is a little bit more petty, and not gonna lie, and kind of funny.
What is
Reason I wouldn't do.
it? Take the BBL and leave you to go somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
Nah, that would be great,
Take that
bro.
shit with you. Can't take that shit with you. Fuck out of here.
Bro, you take it to court, it's like, I want my BBL back.
Yeah, where's that shit, bro? Where's that shit? Fuck
It's
out of
like-
here.
You could imagine you were
The
married.
ultimate clown, bro.
No,
like,
bro, but imagine you were
I
married,
don't
so
know
you own half the BBL. She gotta take one cheek out.
I got partial rights to it.
Remember, fucking partial custody.
Partial custody.
remember in fucking Scary Movie when he stabbed the girl in the boob and then pulled out her implant?
Yo, bro,
Oh, yeah.
you know what would be funny is if you did indeed get half the rights to the BBL, you only take the top half of the BBL. She can keep the bottom part. I gotta take the top.
Yeah.
Or what if it's like you take one cheek, so she only has one big cheek?
Nah, I think it'd be more funny if you just cut it in half vertically. It's just in half vertically, bro.
I'd be tight, like if I'm crossing the street and I happen to see her just walking with another guy, like got her around her arm.
He's just holding on to your BBL, bro.
He's grabbing onto the ass. Yeah,
He's holding your
And
BBL.
one down the arm, holding onto her ass, and they just both staring at me, and I'm just like, yeah, you got it,
Yo, bro,
yeah.
he hits you. Like, hey, yo, bro, thanks.
Yeah.
Did you ever take it for a spin? That'd be
He's like,
crazy.
great purchase, bro, great purchase.
Oh
I'm
my
just
God.
like, yeah, pack
The
me
suspension
up now,
is
bro.
crazy.
Yeah.
No, bro.
Man,
No.
man, that's Jesus Christ. And that's exactly what she gonna do. She get that shit, she gonna upgrade. She's not gonna stick with your
Yeah.
bro.
Cause I'm an average dude, even with money, I'm still average. That shit can't 10 times that. I'm super average, so you feel me? That shit crazy, bro. I can't let that happen. Can't let that happen.
Oh my God, Jesus. And then imagine now you get your girl a BBL, all the unwarranted, like all the annoying attention you're gonna get. You can't walk through the hood with her no more. She got a BBL. You can't do that.
I don't mind the attention, man. They staring, but they ain't. You know what I'm
Nah,
saying?
nah. We're gonna not just get staring now. If your girl walks like that,
They would be like the hyenas from Lion King.
yeah. That's exactly how they
Circling you guys. Like, where do you think you're going?
But I'll give you a funny ass story of something I saw in front of me once. This guy had his girlfriend had a BBL. He's walking with her, and he was saying this thing. He's like, "Oh, all y'all niggas staring like y'all never seen a woman before," right? As he's walking with her, and then I was thinking in my head, I was like, "I mean, but you probably were one of the niggas staring before you got her." I was like, if you didn't buy her the BBL or you didn't know her before the BBL, you was one of these same niggas. Like, why are you?"
It's crazy. It's crazy how we despise the same thing we become, right?
Yeah,
Or we become what we despised.
exactly. Like you just because you have her now, when she was walking down the street, you was one of the same people, just like, on that fucking, that one from the Droopy Dog cartoons,
Yeah.
where he's like, "Oh God," Oh my God, that's crazy, man. BBL, Jesus, man.
And with that, I think we're done.
No, we have one more thing. I want to talk about. Did you get
The farewell message? Quick farewell?
No, I have a last topic. So the last thing I want to talk about is recently we've been trying our trying our hardest to deliver good content to you guys. And one of the changes we decided to make. Close. I was gonna say the change we decided to make is to record Sarah Line.
I knew it. That's
It
why I was looking at you like that. I was like, this nigga.
He was laughing too much to it. He was laughing.
I was like, this man is gonna say some stupid shit. Get out of here, bro. Get out of here, bro.
That was good though. That was good, man. If you would have just been able to deliver
bro.
it.
If I'd actually been able to finish, it would have been so perfect. But just the thought of it, imagining me watching this later and looking back at myself saying that I couldn't. Anyways, catch you same bad place, same bad time. Raytron's hairline.